Are live.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to week 104 of the Free Assange Vigil, which means we are actually turning 2 this week. This week, I guess. So obviously we have an awesome show. I know everybody's excited, so let's get through the numbers for this week. So we have 3,850 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for Julian Assange, 813 days since the WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy after being sold to the United States and the United Kingdom for a $4.2 billion loan from the IMF to Ecuador. 176 days since Vanessa Breitzer's January 6, 2021 ruling to deny bail for Julian Assange after she ruled on a no extradition on January 4th. We have 1,405 days of inhumane detention for alleged Vault 7 whistleblower Joshua Schultz. At least 967 of those days have been spent under special administrative measures, which we've covered on the show, and that's hell on earth. 812 days since the political persecution of Ola Beni by the Ecuadorian government. 17 days since Commander X was illegally taken from Mexico in rendition to the United States. We have some bright spots. We have 21 days since whistleblower Reality Winner was moved into house arrest and is expected to be fully free on November 23rd, if all goes well. And we have 467 days of freedom for Chelsea Manning. You can find her on Twitch. And we have 115 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond. Okay, our guest tonight doesn't really need an introduction, but I have heard that he likes a good introduction. So let me try to do a little something here. Jimmy Dore is a comedian, a journalist, an author. He's also a shitlib slayer, a truth teller, the original Putin's buddy. He's the original Putin's buddy. You may know him from his Better Than TYT political commentary show, maybe his Comedy Central specials, or the cucking of Cenk Uygur. And he's a longtime supporter of the Free Assange movement, and he's been a strong voice for Julian Assange for a very long time. So we are super pumped to welcome to the Vigil, Jimmy fucking Dore.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure. And thanks for doing all the work you do for Julian. It's really, everybody should be doing something like this. So thank you.
Yeah, and we appreciate that you've always been like a really strong voice for Julian. And you've talked about it a little bit on your show. Have you been paying attention to WikiLeaks since like 2010? And have you been following it ever since? Because I think we just like to know everybody's origin story. Like how did you start following WikiLeaks? When did you start recognizing? Because everybody's got their own path on this, I think.
I don't even, it's kind of like YouTube. I can't imagine life without Wiki. I can't remember a time before it. I just, no one's ever asked me that question before. I mean, I guess, I can't even tell you. I can't tell you the first WikiLeaks story that got me interested in WikiLeaks. I don't remember, but I feel like I've always known of WikiLeaks. God, even when I went to, right? I don't know. That's what it seems like to me. I'm trying to think, but when I went to Oslo, Norway, right, to that sham freedom forum run by Thor Halvorsen and Gary Kasparov, who called me Putin's buddy. That was nice. You are Putin's buddy.
That was seriously that's my Twitter name now. Comrade Misty is Putin's buddy. That's where I got
Putin's
that from.
Buddy.
Cracks me up. I used to have a Putin mask that hung up there before a long time ago. I had like a big Halloween mask. Yeah. It's just, It's now become a bit. It's become a bit, basically.
But even Julian was at that, like in 2011, I think, or something. They had featured him at that Freedom Forum, and I wish I would have. But anyway, so I've always known of him. I don't know. I just don't. I feel like I've always known him.
I know it does.
Answer.
No, you're right though. It does kind of feel like there's never been like an existence without WikiLeaks, and there shouldn't ever be. Like we say all the time, if I had it my way, there'd be like thousands of WikiLeaks across the globe doing what they do and exposing everybody, not just because WikiLeaks can only do so much. So yeah, I mean,
it's amazing how they. Well, of course, they did the playbook, right? If you want to smear somebody, they accuse them of being a sexual creep, right? Immediately, even though how many times that's been debunked, and and so now they're over that. But people would do that, right? Shitlibs would tweet out stuff about Julian, like, I don't think he should be in jail, but he's creepy. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's
Well,
what does that even mean?
They did this propaganda campaign for like the last decade where they would take whatever group supported him and just make up a fucking smear and like blast it as loud as they could with their like mockingbird media elements. Like you have like the Mossad agent, you have the Russian agent, you have the rapist, you have the hacker, you have the...
They've thrown everything at him.
Yeah.
Everything, literally everything. They've taken all the things and been like, here you go. You know, it's ridiculous, the smear campaign. It's really like kind of interesting if you go back and look at it. It's been very systematic. It's nuts.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, when other journalists, I mean, I remember Matt Orfalea did a video where he confronted Jim Acosta. He was plugging his new book at the museum, which is now closed. Which I think that wasn't that somehow connected to the Smithsonian or something, the museum. But anyway, so. He confronted Jim Acosta there.
I think it may have been Johns Hopkins that purchased it and then resold it for housing developments.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because it's under construction to be renovated into the museum condominiums that'll have a lobby museum with luxury housing right next to Capitol Hill.
Wow. And so anyway, that's America. Fuck yeah. And so, yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I forgot what I was saying now. What was I saying?
I don't know either. I don't know. I'm a little high, Jimmy. I'm a little high, to be honest. A little bit, because I was nervous to have you on. So I was like,
doesn't pot make you more nervous?
Not really. Well, it depends. It depends. Most of the time, I have severe ADHD, so it usually just like calms me down. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
okay, yeah,
but yeah, like I don't know, like we've talked a lot about how independent media doesn't cover Julian Assange, and you've been like one of few voices that have been very consistent. Lee Camp's been good. You're amazing. You know, the Gray Zone guys are pretty good on it.
Richie Medhurst, Aaron Matei.
Richie Medhurst, yeah, all of those. I mean, there are some good ones, but it's like polling. I'm not even kidding you, because I go on like crazy Twitter. Like just rampages where I'm contacting everybody. Why aren't you covering this? Why aren't you covering this? We email people, all that stuff. And getting some of the people on independent media to cover Julian Assange is really fucking hard. What the fuck is that about? I don't understand. I don't understand. I do know what it's about. It's clicks and subscriptions. They're worried about it, but it sucks.
You know, when I cover Julian, I know usually it's not going to be a big... it doesn't get a lot of views for whatever reason. Like, for instance, like the last video we did with Julian's father and brother, I think it got somewhere around 60,000 views, and that's okay. I mean, I'm glad to do it. I don't care. But you know, and we average somewhere a little around 100. So but that's not why I do it. I do it because it's really important. And Julian Assange is, you know, I mean, everything hinges on freedom of the press. And if we don't have freedom of the press, we're done, right? And so we don't really have it because Julian Assange is being persecuted and prosecuted right now. So we don't really have freedom of the press. And when people who are, you know, remember how they made a clown show out of Jim Acosta and Donald Trump press conferences? It was such a sideshow that he kept trying to pretend like he's going to stand up to Trump. Hey, you want to stand up to Trump? Advocate for Julian Assange. But that's not what Jim Acosta did when he was confronted by Matt Orfalea at the museum. He said, well, we should let it go to court. And so you should let it go to court? Really, Jim? You think journalists should have to go to court for doing journalism? They should be prosecuted? You want to hear what? Really? That's fantastic. So that's the thing. They give lip service to journalism. They give lip service to the freedom of the press. And this is the case that, you know, some outlets cover it, but they cover it incorrectly. I mean, I don't think you really want the Young Turks to be covering Julian Assange and WikiLeaks.
I have a funny story about the Young Turks. We have a funny story about that. So our friend Glory Jones, who's an amazing young activist, we always are constantly trying to get people to cover it. So Glory Jones paid money to get into their super chat and asked Anna Kasparian to cover the Julian Assange case. So she reads it on air, and she's like, she says very flippantly, "Oh, well, we'll look into that."
She said, "I promise we'll look into it."
Mm-hmm. You need to look into Julian fucking Assange? Are you kidding? It's like a historic court case on press freedom, and you have to look into it, and you call yourself a journalist? You're a joke. She's a joke. It's sorry. Like we could rant about TYT because I hate them too, and I know you have no love lost, but they're terrible. Terrible.
I mean, terrible. And so as soon as I got out of there, I tried to be the loyal soldier and not be the one who criticized them. But Anna Kasparian couldn't bite her tongue, and she kept. When I started doing Forced to Vote, she just started to drag my name through the mud for no reason. And then Cenk joined in, and then I was like, okay, well, you guys, I don't think.
Right. And here's the thing. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I honestly think that you handled like the past couple of years with them very well, because I like, if you go back and check my Twitter, I was saying I really wish he would leave TYT. I really wish he would leave TYT. So I was so excited when you left
for the Mueller report.
Yeah. Okay. I got it.
I was holding out. I thought the Mueller
bombshell
report would change things. I thought that once the Mueller report came out and they read that there was no conspiracy between Trump and the Russians, that they would go back to normal, but they didn't, and they got even worse. And then I was just like, I can't stay here anymore. And I certainly wasn't there for the money. I wasn't making hardly any money. They weren't paying me well. So I was there because it was such a wonderful time, 2015, when Bernie happened. And, it was, and I felt like I owed a debt to them for, I was a professional comedian, award-winning. And I knew my way around a camera and things like that. I knew my way around a stage and a microphone, but to present the news was different. And so I learned a lot from Cenk on how to do that, how to present things. And so I felt it like a debt, and I didn't want to, and I wanted to be the good, loyal soldier, and I was. And, it was such a great time, really was. Like, one of the best times of my life was 2015. And all that, and the camaraderie we felt at the Young Turks and with the Bernie supporters and the progressive left and the people who hated CNN as much as they hated Fox News. It was a real awakening, and it was just an exciting time. I never felt more alive. It was a really exciting time. And it seems like as soon as Bernie lost New York, as soon as that happened, they just couldn't wait to become shit libs. And it was such a heartbreak for me, and then the show got so bad that we stopped watching it. The people at the Young Turks that I hung around with, we didn't watch the show anymore. And that's when I came, we proposed, me and Steve-O would do the show, The Aggressive Progressives. And everybody knows the story from there. But, Cenk put it behind a paywall and blah, blah, blah. And again, I was there because I liked the camaraderie. I liked the people. I liked the mission. And that's why after the 2016 election, and when Hillary lost to Trump and Trump became president, I turned to Cenk and I go, let's do something. Let's do something big. Let's really make our mark. And he said, like what? I go, let's unionize all the Walmart workers in California. And he turned to me and said, well, I'm not that into unions. And I was like, oh, shit, don't say that. And, I was just trying to find something. And then they became McCarthyite smearing, red baiting maniacs who just spewed conspiracy theories at the top of their lungs, including smearing Julian Assange as a Trumper. I just couldn't take it anymore when the Mueller report came out and they still ignored reality. And now, they're still doing it. They're pushing that stuff about the Syrian war right now. They're pushing the CIA narrative on Syria, and they're smearing the whistleblowers. They smeared the whistleblowers, and they're smearing Aaron Matei. Why are they doing that?
Because they got bought off, I think. I think that you've done a great job of exposing the fact that and Robbie Yeager, we should give a shout out to Robbie Yeager. He's an independent journalist. Shout out to Robbie. Yeah, he did an article like in 2018, I think, totally exposing TYT and their fundraising, and that it's not just Jeffrey Katzenberg, that there are right wingers involved, that there are other people involved, and it's not, He did a great job of that. So, shout out to him for sure. But the Russiagate stuff is really really gross to me. They went way too far. And then, you have the smearing of Tulsi, which, listen, I'm not really a Tulsi fan. I hate all politicians. I side-eye all politicians. I really despise them. There are people who are running for office who I really like as people that I've told to their face, like, I may like you as a person. I have no love for you as a politician. I will side-eye you every day. It just, to smear. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say about Tulsi. Aaron Matei and myself were the only ones really covering the gas attacks on Syria in the way we were covering them. right? And we were really, I was exposing the whistleblowers on my show, and even Aramate at that time, when he was at the Real News, didn't cover that second one, right? I covered it. I got smeared by CNN as a conspiracy theorist who says gas attacks were a hoax. Well, they were. And I was proof. So I was being smeared by them and everybody else. And people were calling me every name in the book, people who didn't, regular Democrats. And they wanted to make me out to be a kook, right? So they can dismiss me and they can discredit me. And so that happened. And somebody at the Young Turks did that on Twitter. They called me a conspiracy theorist on Twitter over the Syria thing, which I got right. And so when Tulsi started getting smeared for telling the truth about Syria, you could understand why I would want to stick up for that, because she was being smeared in the same way I was being smeared for telling the truth. And it was obvious she was being smeared for telling the truth. And shame on everybody else who went along with that shit. And everybody who sat there while other people did it. They would literally red bait her on MSNBC in front of a panel of 7 people, and Michael Moore would be sitting there and not say anything. It just is gross, that somehow she's a sitting congresswoman and a serving officer in the military presently. And they're smearing her as a Russian. They're smearing her as a traitor to our country who's in bed with foreign dictator. I mean, it's
with
just
no evidence. No evidence.
Zero. I mean,
zero.
And so remember all the pearl clutching they did when Trump went after that Gold Star family, because everyone pretended they had to virtue signal that they gave a shit. Well, they were smearing a live fucking soldier. They didn't give a shit. They were smearing her as the head of the party. Hillary Clinton called her a Russian asset, and she was currently serving in the wars that Hillary Clinton illegally started and cheered on. That's amazing that happened. So you can understand why I would want to stand up for somebody who was standing up for the truth about our foreign wars.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
One of the first campaign speeches she gave was actually about taking down the intelligence community and the necessity to rebuild privacy amongst the general public.
She's great on a lot of things. I just don't like any politicians, and she's an actively serving member of the military. And as an anti-imperialist, I have issues with that. I think
Did you see when I confronted her about that?
Yes. No. Listen, and that's what I don't understand why people are like, okay, maybe you did go a little
easy on her. I never went easy on her.
You would joke about it. You would joke about she's pretty, and so I can't. And that was just like cute stuff of you just like joking around about it. But yes, no, you did great. Like, just being real about who she was. And she was honestly the best candidate in the election. Bernie sucks. Everybody's like, I can't believe she ran against Bernie. Fuck Bernie. Are you kidding me?
And are you kidding me? 2 people in the House of Representatives that proposed a bill in support of Julian Assange, like her and Thomas Massey, and then later a few others signed on, but put forward a legislation detailing the assaults that have happened against Julian since as early as, I think, 2009.
And calling for his release and pardon.
So that, and Edward Snowden for that matter. She defended him a whole bunch.
And also to reform the Espionage Act. We should abolish it, but reform, we'll start there. Okay, I'm good.
So, and then to smear her the way she got smeared. I mean, there's a lot of, you could criticize Tulsi in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But those weren't the ways.
No.
And they even did that on the Young Turks, where he goes, I hear Steve Bannon is a fan of yours. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, Anna hates her. Anna hates Tulsi. It was so gross. Oh,
can you remember the next time anybody at the Young Turks asked anybody what their position on Modi was?
No.
No, they've never asked that question. It only gets asked of her. Why? Because of her religion? That seems weird. That seems weird. She's the only one who gets punished for her position on Modi. What was Bernie's position on Modi? What's Kamala Harris's position on Modi? What's Joe Biden's position on Modi? Nobody ever asked them, but I'll tell you what, I bet you it's fantastic. I mean, I bet they love them.
Yeah, I mean, that's generally the case. I mean, power attracts power, I think. But it's just these disingenuous smears, and it's really gotten out of fucking hand.
And by the way, I'm not defending Modi.
Right.
That's not the point. My point of this is to point out the hypocrisy and the double standards and the selective enforcement that was surrounding Tulsi Gabbard because she was going against the CIA narrative and the war machine. That's why they were doing that to her.
Well, I get called a racist, a Nazi enabler, or whatever, because I criticize the squad. Meanwhile, these people voted for Joe Biden.
They voted for Joe Biden. You can't
Captain
vote for
Crime
that guy
Bill.
and
Yeah.
then call anybody else or anything else.
No,
those
you have
people
no
that-
moral high ground.
the criminal justice system is the way it is because of Joe Biden, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't lock up all those people. That was because of Joe Biden.
Well, Kamala Harris helped. She had she
And
enforced it. Yeah,
yes.
she enforced it. So I mean, they got a double whammy over there on that ticket. It's a good job, guys. But yeah, it's so dumb. There's no consistency. There's no intellectual consistency at all. And that's, I think, like the biggest divide is that there are people who try. Listen, I'm not perfect, and you're not perfect, and there are times I have my biases, and there are times that shit gets past me. But I try to be consistent in my thinking. It's like I said before. People will try to bring up the smears against Julian Assange. He's a rapist. He's a hacker. He's a what the fuck ever. And I don't care. Julian Assange could be the worst person on planet Earth, and I would still fight against what's happening to him because it's wrong.
Right.
And
That's
because
right.
it's dangerous for everybody else. And that's
right.
because it's a consistency thing. Like there's a lot of people that are just incapable. And
So,
it
Jimmy, I
sucks.
have an interesting question / thought idea for you. Back in 2010, after the release of the Iraq War Logs, the Collateral Murder Video, Afghan War Diaries, Guantanamo Bay Files, Cablegate, everything Julian's on trial for right now, he did an interview with John Pilger for a documentary and said that the new form of dissent we're seeing is it's not with people not enlisting in the military. It's with people enlisting in the military or other services specifically to release information as a form of dissent. And we
really?
had Chelsea Manning as one of about 100,000 people that had access to the information that she did. We have people like Daniel Hale a few years ago that released the information about Obama's drone program. That was one of dozens of people, maybe a few hundred. And then most recently in 2017, we had a gentleman by the name of Joshua Schultz who allegedly, according to the government, released the Vault 7 documents, who was one of maybe 10 people that had access to that information, that server that those weapons were stored on. So I was just wondering what you thought of that scaling percentage, where a decade ago we were 1 in 100,000 being a whistleblower, and now it's gotten down to the point where the most inner secure levels of the CIA arsenal are being released by one of 10 people that have access.
I never looked at it like that. Well, I think what they're doing is so egregious that it shocks people's conscience, and so they're doing, I mean, look at the stuff they're doing. It's just killing journalists, killing Red Cross, double tapping, it's just the
Torture,
most
black sites.
torture. They have a torture program.
Yeah.
They're doing extraordinary rendition, which I know sounds like something that Liberace would do, but that's what the government was doing. So that's not my joke. I heard someone else do that joke. I can't take credit for that joke.
It's still funny.
I don't know whose joke that is. It's very funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's probably what it is. What the things that they're doing today. Hey, let me go get something to get the sun out of my eyes. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. No, I think ever since you said that to me, Andrew, I was like, he's right about that. Like, this is 100% an interesting, just one.
It's one of my favorite things to think about, because there's not hope in this fight. There is endurance, there is principles, and there is defending your personal values. But something like that scale of a decade ago, 1 in 100,000 people were disgusted to the point that now they can't even hide, is to me beautiful. It's a form of Martin Luther King's the curve of history is slow but bends in favor of justice.
I'm always the little hopeful part of me thinks that we're just one whistleblower away from, but then Caitlin Johnstone, this is kind of weird because usually she brings me a lot of hope, but Caitlin Johnstone wrote an article well, maybe there isn't going to be another one of those moments because maybe it's already happened, we've already exposed all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think people are I think that's why there's such an attack on whistleblowers and journalists, because they're trying to reverse that trend. They're trying to make sure that people don't do this ever again.
Wasn't there a recent study that just got released that talked about how? Let me do this. That talked about how the people's confidence in the news is at an all-time low.
We're I think it's out of 47 countries. We're dead last.
And in the
We're worse
World
than
Press
state
Freedom
media.
Index, somehow we raised a point when Biden took office.
Yeah.
That they were like, yay, America's free again. We're going to raise you a country.
That's an NGO for
Press
you.
Freedom Index from Reporters Without Borders. And then in
dead
a
last.
5-paragraph piece, after you click read more twice, they're like, oh, and, Joe Biden's still prosecuting Julian Assange. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Well, what's so disgusting to me is that people, there is no trust in the mainstream news media, and yet you go to YouTube, it's called YouTube, and YouTube pushes you towards the mainstream news media. And it's not called establishment news, it's called YouTube. It's what are you doing? People are coming here, they know where to go get that news. They can go to MSNBC.com or CNN.com or FoxNews.com. They know where to go to get that stuff. They're coming to YouTube because they want to see people like me, and then YouTube, because they're part of the establishment war machine. They're owned by Google, which is the richest company, I think, in the history of the world. They decide to suppress actual information. That's what they're doing. And they brag about it. They brag that the views and recommendations on independent news is down 80%. They brag about that. They say that's good. They're suppressing independent news, and they're like proud of it. They want everybody to know how much they're suppressing it. That's nuts.
Yeah. No, and what's really scary is the United States, I'm sure people are tired of hearing me say this, but the United States is seeking global jurisdiction over information and journalism. That's what the Julian Assange thing's about. That's what, when they went after the 30 some odd websites the other day, foreign websites, that's, all of that's at the local or protests in the United States. We're seeing journalists get photographed, and they're put into some app so that they can be tracked, and they have to have their IDs checked, and they're getting attacked. They're getting hit with rubber bullets and tear gassed and all of that stuff, beaten up, detained, all of those things. I feel like people think I get too overly dramatic about this, but Jesus fucking Christ, it's dramatic. This affects everything else. If you want to fight for anything else, you have to be able to obtain and disperse legitimate information, truth. And they're taking away your ability to do that. So if you want Medicare for all, a perfect example is the whistleblower from the healthcare lobbyists who said, listen, I used to write misinformation about the Canadian healthcare system to confuse the American populace. And that's a huge part of the reason why we don't have Medicare for all. And they're trying to clamp that down even more so that they completely control the narrative. That's terrifying.
I mean, people don't, I'm from Hollywood, right? And my friends are in Hollywood, and it's amazing how they just eat pop propaganda from Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes, and they think they're getting the news. It's just unbelievable. And so and there's just no left in America. I mean, look at what Forced to Vote revealed. Look what Julian Assange reveals. I mean, there's no left in America worth a shit. I tried to do something that everybody agreed on, and half of the fucking left turned against me.
Something simple too, like something saying, hey, someone that was read in on torture in 2003 probably shouldn't be Speaker of the House. Let's get health care. And everyone's like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we shouldn't have even had to have that conversation with progressives. You're going to vote for Nancy fucking Pelosi? No, that we shouldn't have even had like a force the vote conversation. They should have been like, we're not voting for Nancy Pelosi. And here's a laundry list of things that we want in advance before we'll even consider it. That should have been their position.
That should have been their position before we even consider it. This is what we want.
Yes.
And they could have got $15 minimum wage. They didn't have to do Medicare for all. They could have got $15 minimum wage. They could have got student debt relief. They could have got whatever they wanted. They could have got whatever they wanted, actually.
Yeah, no, yeah. And you're right. And what cracks me up too is they're like, we can't do force the vote because $15 an hour is more doable. And then when it came time to fight for that, they didn't even put up like a whimper. There was no fight.
People keep saying they're not corrupt, right?
Kyle.
They are. The definition of corrupt, which it made me, I heard him say it so often, I actually looked up the definition of corrupt. And the definition of corrupt, the one I found from Webster, says that it's acting in a dishonest way for money or personal gain. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're making sure they have a safe spot inside the party because they don't want, what happened was that the weight of the party was threatened against them. if you fucking fuck with us, we're going to primary you and use the whole power of the establishment to crush you. And we'll get the media to crush you, and we're going to get you a challenger from your left, and we're going to fund them, and we're going to get rid and that. And so they all and they go, you just be cool for 5 years, because in 5 years then they get a pension, right? So I don't know if people know that if you're in Congress for 5 years, you get a pension for the rest of your life. So that's why they're all playing cool for at least 5 years, and then they can get a pension for the rest of their life. Plus, they get speaking fees. You know, AOC, she has a personal appearance agent, and she was charging $50,000 to $150,000 per speech. So there's a lot of money to be made if you are.
So she's basically training to be a junior Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, Nancy Pelosi. So, she's Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. At this point, do you think she has given a public position and private position speech?
Yes. No. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
like Hillary Clinton,
somebody,
like
to a lobby.
Wall Street speeches in 2016 revealed that she had a public position and a private position when she was dealing with politics and banking and all this.
Well, it's obvious that AOC's private position, or her public position, is that she's going to bring the ruckus and push the Democratic Party. That she's going to bring the ruckus. That's what she said. And because they don't do anything unless you push them. And if I'm only a one-term congresswoman, you can get more done in one term if you really put. That's her public position. Her private position is, I'm not doing anything that goes against Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. And that's also exactly like her on Palestine. She uses Palestine as a political football for like when it's, politically advantageous for her to do so. Mm-hmm. But then when it comes down to it, she's, kissing up to Israeli government so that she can use their tech for her Green New Deal, which is terrible anyway. Or she's apologizing for talking to Jeremy Corbyn because some Zionist yelled at her. I mean, she does this on everything. She is, I guess she is kind of a Hillary Clinton. You're right, Andrew. You're right. I agree with you, friend. She is. Yes, they're corrupt. You're absolutely right.
She's already funding right-wing Congress people. She's funding them. She's sending
CIA
funds to conservative right-wing. And so now if a progressive wants to go challenge that corporatist, they can't. They're good because they're going to go up against AOC money, which she got from other progressives. Isn't that weird to fund a corporatist with progressive money? That's
gross.
That's the whole thing about 2016 or about 2018 that literally kills me is AOC's money laundering, where there was all these tiny candidates. You had Dan Cannon, you had Rick Trevino, you had Amy Villela, and all the other judges like the Iron Stash, right? All these other Justice Democrats, brand new Congress members, that right as the primaries were coming to a head, the Justice Democrats pulled all of that money and put it into the Justice Democrats Corporation, and those candidates didn't even have control over their own PAC funds at that point. So they literally pulled all of the funding for almost every progressive that had been done online and just dumped it into AOC's private corporation after she was already winning in her primary by land.
That's how all of this is, though. Even progressives, they're all doing the same stuff. So yeah, maybe they're not taking corporate money, but it's still circulating through the same cesspool. All of that money just circulates around. Like Nancy Pelosi donates to the squad. Where do you think that money comes from? These corporate Democrats are also giving them money too. So they are kind of taking corporate money in a roundabout way.
I don't know where you two are at with this, but I'm to the point where if you are a person of conscience, you can't vote for a Democrat or a Republican anymore. You have to stop doing that.
Oh, yeah. No, we were all delegates for the Libertarian Party in 2020. Like our whole crew was a delegate for, I don't know if you know who Adam Kokesh is. Of the Libertarian Convention.
I was not, but I am extremely against electoral politics, Jimmy. Yeah. I am extremely against electoral politics.
No, I don't think you can be someone that stands for justice and run for a political position at all. Because you then have to say, yes, I believe one person has the right to impose their will over others through violence. Regardless of what it is, that's like the statist position is no, violence is acceptable if it's to get what I passed as law.
Yeah, electoral politics ain't it. It's not ever going to be the change maker. It's never been the change maker. Anytime we've ever gotten anything of significance, it's been because of like grassroots activism and pressure from the outside. And, I think that we have to start organizing outside the system, participate in mutual aid, learn to grow food, learn, how to fix cars and sew clothes and whatever you have to do, because the government's not coming for us. They're not going to come save us. I think that if anything has proven that to be more true, it's COVID. The CARES Act, a huge transfer of wealth to the upper 1%, and all progressives are voting for that shit. And then not only that, we're in the middle of a pandemic in the United States of America in the year 2021, and we can't even get a public option. We can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all in the middle of a goddamn pandemic in the United States. It's unbelievable. And then they want everybody to keep going back to school. And everybody thinks that this is about your health. This has nothing to do with your health. They don't give a shit about your health. If they did, they'd give you Medicare for all. This has nothing to do with that. They're using it.
A third of all COVID deaths can be attributed to a lack of Medicare for all. Did you know that?
Right? I mean,
if people hate how much Trump, we had all these people dead because of Trump. No, we have a third of those people are dead because we don't have a Medicare for all. Yeah. That's actually the truth.
Yeah. And then we have Joe Biden refusing to do it.
More capable than somebody else.
Yeah. No.
Joe Biden was telling people to go vote during the
Yeah, he sure did. Simone Sanders went on and said the same thing, and then criticized Bernie for something later on. And it's this disingenuous smear campaign again. It's what they do. That's how politics works. It's really gross. We let psychopaths reach these levels of power, and then it's like, I call it high school for psychopaths. That's what it feels like. There's a bunch of cliques, and they all hate each other, and they're also psychopaths, and they have access to nuclear weapons. And
remember you remember what Senator Gravel said at that debate? He said, get in this. When I first got to the Senate, I was all excited. I'm like, how did I get here? And then 6 months later, I was like, how did all these other motherfuckers get here?
Yeah, no. And when he was on stage and he looked them all in their faces and said, "You guys scare me."
You guys scare me.
That was amazing. And, yeah, that was amazing. That was one of the best debate. That Tulsi and Kamala Harris is by far my favorite debate moment of all time. It's only immediately followed by the backstage Anderson Cooper. Best thing he's ever done. Made her watch it back in real time on live TV. It was great. It's the best thing Anderson Cooper has ever done. No kidding. That was awesome.
That was definitely amazing. I played that over and over at live shows, and we all laughed.
It's so great. It's perfect. But you've been really generous with your time. I appreciate you coming on. I don't want to keep you forever. I feel bad. I know you're busy. Do you want to tell, are you going back on tour? I know Ron and,
yes.
I'm excited.
We just confirmed Portland and Chicago today. I'll announce that when we have a ticket link available, but that's sometime I think in August. We'll be going to Portland and Chicago right now, and I'm working on every other city.
Awesome. Thalia Hall again, do you think?
Yes, it's Thalia Hall, definitely.
Could I make one recommendation? Because I think this would be fucking awesome. I actually got to meet Misty in person for the first time at one of your shows, and you had the meet and greet section, like at the end where like everyone wrapped around the room.
Which was awesome.
Yes.
Putting a just random local organizer as like a town crier, because there'll be like 300 people wrapped around a circle standing there like talking amongst themselves. Putting like a local activist on spotlight there to talk, I think would be really cool.
Yeah, or like hand out information. That would be cool.
Unfortunately, we're not doing any more meet and greets because of COVID and shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, at least for a while, we're not going to do.
No, that makes sense. Got to be careful. So
yeah, I don't. They're talking about variants and all kind of shit, and I got fucked up from the vax, right? You guys know that, right?
Yeah. That's fucking terrible. And then people attacking you for just saying what's happening to you is amazing.
They're saying I'm anti-vax. No, I got the vax.
Yeah, and I'm just letting you know that this is what it did to me. It's a new thing. Don't you want to know?
Yeah, that's not how science works. You don't tell people to keep their reactions to an experimental vaccine to themselves. Yeah, don't tell anybody. If you have a reaction, don't tell anybody. Is it an experimental vaccine? Yeah, don't tell anybody. The less information we have, the less data we have, the better. That's not how science works.
No.
So those are people who are. That's blue MAGA. That's what that is. They
Yes.
now politicize. They have politicized medicine. They have. The Democrats, the left, has politicized medicine in some weird attempt to own the conservatives and Donald Trump. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Turns out there's studies out there now, lots of them, that show hydrochloroquine actually helps. You're not even allowed to talk about the stuff that
ivermectin too.
So the University of Chicago did it, because this is close at home to you. The University of Chicago released a multi-department case study that showed that smoking or eating THC or CBD inhibits the spread of coronavirus in your system, prevents cell entry, and reduces the actual rate of multiplication if it does get into a cell, while at the same time boosting your immune system. Yeah, it's the crazy, like literally just type in University of Chicago.
Can you send me that?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
It's the craziest fucking case study. It came out beginning of this year.
How did I not?
I should have sent it to you a long time ago, I guess.
Censored. I only heard it. Shout out to Adam Kokesh again, because he does the intro of every show. He references that case study and then rips a bong before he goes in.
That's funny.
Well, anyway, I'm just glad that there's people like you two out there, and especially sticking up for Julian and being on Twitter. It's really comforting. You're one of those people that I don't think I ever have to worry about. You're like, oh no, they're going to shit lib. You've seen it happen over and over, right? Right? I mean, look what happened to the Young Turks. That was painful. It's very painful for me. I'm not enjoying any of this. This is not fun for me. I didn't want to do this. I wanted to, keep those friendships for the rest of my life and everything, but they just made it way too toxic. They just, and once they started to drag my name through the mud because of forced to vote, that was just unfortunate. And it's unfortunate that all this had to happen. What's more unfortunate is that they decided to take $24 million from right-wing DNC donors and then smear Julian Assange.
Yes.
That's really
well, and the Me Too stuff. I just want to say the Me Too stuff, just like that's gross. That's gross. Okay, should I say that's disgusting? Fuck you, Anna. How about that? I mean, seriously, that's gross to do that. And like somebody who's a friend who just made like an offhanded comment, and then apologized and gave you a card and you squashed it and everything's fine. To bring that up later for like your own personal agenda
when you're being really criticized.
Sick. Yeah. And not addressing any of your actual criticism with like facts, just like, hey, instead of admitting that I suck and I'm doing terrible journalism, I'm going to attack you on something that doesn't make any sense whatsoever and try to slander and smear you. It's gross. Yeah. Like, grow up. I don't know.
I appreciate you saying that. I've had a lot of people say that to me, a lot of women, and they get it, right? And a lot of women who have actually experienced harassment in the workplace are upset about it. Like that's the kind of thing with such an obvious false accusation, because she was doing this because they got caught on their McCarthy smear, to the point where Roger Waters from Pink Floyd was calling them out. I mean, everybody was calling them out. Everybody saw it. And so they said that Aaron got paid by the Russians, and then he was working for Assad. Julian Assange is a Trumper. They called me a Nazi. Jen says I'm in bed with the Nazis. And then they launched that hashtag Me Too again. And it didn't land because everybody saw. And by the way, if you're going to be falsely accused of a hashtag Me Too, I hope it's by a person who hosted a segment called Guess Who's Camel Toe, because that'd be a big help to you if that's the person who accuses you. And they've also they posted revenge porn at tyt.com. I showed that. And then they would show upskirt videos taken against celebrities' will without their consent. And they would show the naked pictures of their vaginas up at tyt.com and tell people to go there and look for clicks. And then they tried to clutch their pearls because I said nice news skirt. That doesn't work. That's not working. No, that's not working with anybody. That's not how it works. And you're right. So it
reeks of desperation. Yeah, of course. I mean, I can't imagine not speaking up against it, because it really is gross, and it diminishes what other women actually go through. And it's really unfortunate that they had to sink to that level. And I'm glad that you didn't get down into the gutter with them and you just rebuted them with facts, because they're really not worthy of
all I did was play videos of their show.
Right. No, I know, but that's all you have to do. That's really all you have to do.
You show Cenk sitting there saying that you should be able to have sex with animals and bring a horse to conclusion, as he said, and then them hoisting them, and then Cenk sitting there saying, "Look at how ugly Britney Spears is, and her legs are flabby and thighs, and her cooch looks old, and her face is fat. I wouldn't even do." I mean, that's the environment that the bosses created, and Anna was a boss at the Young Turks, and that's the environment they created. I didn't create that environment, and when I apologized to her, I apologized for a joke where I said nice new skirt because she had revealed herself in the nicest way possible. She revealed herself to the newsroom, and it was awkward. And it was the equivalent of me saying, "Hey, Anna, you're showing a little too much." And she got embarrassed, and so I immediately apologized to her. That was 7 years ago. And then she brought this up because it's to distract everybody from her McCarthy smearing of award-winning journalists like Julian Assange and Aaron Mate. And that's a fact. It was obvious, transparent. So I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate all the women who've come to my defense too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll agree with Anya Parampil. I still think that Cenk would probably do her. But anyways, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you. We appreciate you covering Julian Assange as much as you do. Like I said, it's legitimately like pulling teeth to get some of these people to even mention his name. So seriously, we really do appreciate all of the work you do covering Julian Assange and having his dad and his brother on while they were in the United States. They're leaving on Thursday, so I'm sure that really helped because you have a huge platform, and that's what we need. We need more exposure. That's really what we're up against, is just like a blackout. So seriously, thank you for doing it. We really appreciate you coming on and talking to us and being generous with your time. So it was great to talk to you.
My pleasure. And everybody, free Julian.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So for news, I don't really have a whole bunch. We have obviously the teenager stuff. I went through the indictment itself and pulled out all the sections that reference teenager. And it's actually pretty interesting because as you read through, you can like see the op that they were running through him. It's pretty.
Yeah, okay. It's fucking crazy. This guy, y'all. Okay, maybe we should just go through the slides and then I can rant as we go because there's going to be a lot to rant about, really. Seriously, this is unreal. It's a fucking cartoon. And
I'll throw the PDF in chat for everybody too if you want to read along. I did take out this is the actual one from the indictment itself. This isn't from any news article or anything like that.
By the way, we just had Jimmy fucking Dore on the Vigil, Andrew.
I know. I was so fun. I was so nervous. Stupid.
I know. I'm sure I did say something stupid, and I rambled because I ramble when I'm nervous. But that was so fun. That was fun. Like that was fun. I like Jimmy. I mean, people. He gets a lot of shit, but I mean, I don't always agree with him. I don't always agree with anybody, but he makes me laugh, and he's saying a lot of shit that most people won't say. So just fuck off.
So, you know. So just to preface this, because there was 3 separate indictments that Julian had before the September trial that came forward. This is what they consider the 3rd indictment that was flirted with in June of 2020. And then on September 7th, I think at the start of his trial, he was officially arrested. May have been September 2nd of 2020.
It was like the same day or the day before, something crazy.
Arrested under these new indictments. And it's an expansion of language according to the United States for their investigation that they were doing. But just to preface that this wasn't, I don't even think was a part of the 2nd indictment that came out at the beginning of 2020. I think this was the portion that was
superseded,
yeah, along with information later about the Sarah Harrison. But this is them trying to open the door into the global intelligence files.
Andrew, I just realized that you have your Clovers for Assange shirt on, and I have my fuck censorship shirt on. We didn't do it on purpose.
And you have the one with the clover too.
I know, homie. That's why I'm giggling. That's funny. From the same.
We totally coordinated that. That was like some empath shit.
We're so scripted.
So let me pull this up on the share now that I kind of prefaced it a little bit.
Sorry, I'm very interrupty today.
No, you're good. I'm excited.
I think it's nerves.
Fun interview. And I didn't make myself sound like an idiot.
I'm pretty sure I did. I blacked out, so I don't know. If I did, I'm sorry, Jimmy. I ranted a lot. I do know that, but that's nothing new. All right. Am I reading?
Yeah, if you want to.
Let's do this thing. All right.
You don't
so
have to
on
read the
July.
numbers, by the way, you can skip those. That's just so people can find it in the court document.
Yeah, thanks, dude. I'm pretty sure I got that.
Okay, so let's just check.
Okay. On July 21st, 2010, after Assange and Teenager failed in their joint attempt to decrypt a file stolen from a NATO country one bank, Teenager asked a U.S. person to try to do so. In 2011 and 2012, that individual, who had been an acquaintance of Manning since early 2010, became a paid employee of WikiLeaks and reported to Assange and Teenager. No later than the summer of 2010, Assange put Teenager in charge of operating, administrating, and monitoring WikiLeaks' internal relay chat channel because WikiLeaks' IRC channel was open to the public. Assange regarded it as both a means of contacting new sources and a potential den of spies. Assange warned Teenager to beware of spies and to refer to Assange sources with national security related information. In September 2010, Assange directed Teenager to hack into the computer of an individual formerly associated with WikiLeaks and delete chat logs containing statements of Assange. When Teenager asked how that could be done, Assange wrote that the former WikiLeaks associate could be fooled into downloading a Trojan, referring to malicious software, and then asked Teenager what operating system the former WikiLeaks associate used.
And just so everyone's aware, this is what he's admitted to lying about. Literally all of this. That this was like manufactured. Yeah.
Dude lied about pretty much everything. He didn't work for Julian or for WikiLeaks. He was like a low-level volunteer who was like helping with fundraising. This guy lied about every fucking thing. He was never asked by Julian to do any of this stuff. He has chat logs that shows all of this stuff that is just a complete bullshit. Yes. He embezzled $50,000 from WikiLeaks, actually, because he was volunteering to help with. And he was convicted of that in Iceland, of embezzling $50,000. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay.
Call myself. In the indictment, they have the last line of it actually is like, and Teenager left WikiLeaks, but they make no mention of the fact that he stole $50,000 on the way out.
That's
convenient. In the actual indictment in and of itself.
Yep. Sorry, I was ranty right there. I warned you I was going to do that, though. Okay, later in December 2010, Lorelei, a hacker affiliated with Anonymous, who identified herself as a member of the hacking group. I don't know how to say that. Gnosis?
Gnosis.
I'm guessing? Gnosis? Okay. Contacted Teenager. Lorelei subsequently introduced Teenager to another member of Gnosis, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm trusting you. You would never say
the G is
right.
silent. It's like gnome.
Okay, gotcha. No, I figured that part. Who went by the online moniker Kayla. Teenager told Lorelei that he, Teenager, was quote, in charge of recruitments, unquote, for WikiLeaks and stated, quote, I am Julian Assange's authority and report to him and him only, end quote. First Lorelei and later Kayla indicated to Teenager their willingness to commit computer intrusions on behalf of WikiLeaks. In January 2011, Teenager told Assange a group of hackers offered their services to us called Gnosis. Assange approved of the arrangement and told Teenager to meet with Gnosis. On February 6, 2011, Lorelei told Kayla that they should show to Teenager materials that Kayla had obtained by hacking a U.S. cybersecurity company. On February 7th, 2011, Teenager messaged Assange that Gnosis had hacked U.S. cybersecurity company. On February 11th, 2011, Teenager provided Assange with computer code that Kayla had hacked from U.S. Why can't I say that word today? Cybersecurity company, and told Assange it came from Gnosis hack of that company. On February 15th, 2011, in a chat with a hacker with the moniker El Che, Lorelei characterized herself as, quote, part of WikiLeaks staff, hacker part, end quote. On February 16th, 2011, Lorelei asked Kayla whether Lorelei could tell Teenager about Kayla's penetration of a hosting service so that WikiLeaks could determine if WikiLeaks needed information hosted there. On February 17th, 2011, Teenager told Lorelei that WikiLeaks was the world's largest hacking organization.
And do you see how this, like real quick, how they're...
No, go ahead.
How essentially Teenager is growing this narrative behind the scenes, right? That
yes.
WikiLeaks is a hacker organization, trying to get hackers involved, trying to get them to claim the name WikiLeaks as they're doing these things. Yes. While at the same time saying that he's literally like taking command from Julian and lying about absolutely everything throughout this whole process. and being an FBI informant along the way. So like as these hackers are going in and doing things, he is then already in contact with the FBI about it.
Yeah. This dude's a fuckface, man.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember where I was. Oh, okay. On March 1st, 2011, Lorelai told Kayla to let Lorelai know if Kayla found any, quote, @gov passwords so that Lorelai could send them to WikiLeaks through Teenager. On March 6th, 2011, Lorelai offered WikiLeaks through Teenager unpublished 0 days vulnerabilities that can be used to hack computer systems. On March 15th, 2011, Lorelai emailed WikiLeaks through Teenager a list of approximately 200 purported passwords to U.S. and state government email accounts, including passwords hashed and plain text that purported to be for accounts associated with information technology specialists at government institutions.
And this is basically where they get into like the sting operation that they were trying to do to set Julian up as a hacker, more or less.
How many more of these are there?
I think this is the last one.
Okay, good. After receiving Assange's approval to establish a relationship between WikiLeaks and LulzSec, Teenager made contact with Topiary on June 16, 2011 by going through Lorelai to show Topiary that Teenager spoke for WikiLeaks so that an agreement could be reached between WikiLeaks and LulzSec. Teenager posted to YouTube and then quickly deleted a video of his computer screen that showed the conversation that he was having with Topiary. The video turned from Teenager's computer screen and showed Assange sitting nearby. Teenager told Topiary, "My only main purpose here is mainly to create some kind of connection between LulzSec and WikiLeaks." Topiary agreed to this partnership, stating, "If we do get a massive cache of information, we'd be happy to supply you with it." Teenager later added, "WikiLeaks cannot publicly be taking down websites, but we might give a suggestion of something or something similar if that's acceptable to LulzSec." On June 19, 2011, LulzSec posted a release stating that it was launching a movement called Anti-Sec that would engage in cyber attacks against government agencies, banks, and cybersecurity firms. From this point forward, people affiliated with the groups often used the names LulzSec and Anti-Sec interchangeably. In the fall of 2011, Teenager left WikiLeaks. I just want to point out that I nailed that last cybersecurity.
You did. That was impressive.
I did.
But this indictment fails to mention the fact, right, that not only is he a pedophile, right, this teenager, Siggy, but was an FBI informant. And that LulzSec...
And a diagnosed sociopath.
Yeah.
Diagnosed... No, I'm not saying... Listen, I'm not saying that all sociopaths are evil, but this is the key witness against Julian Assange. This is essentially what their case rides on. Really, this is what we're going with: a convicted child molester and a diagnosed sociopath who is like a career criminal who's like, and then admitted in this newest report from Student that he like ramped up his crime spree after he got immunity from the FBI. He's like, I just went hog wild. And this is the kind of person that they're case hinges on. Why is he still in Belmarsh, you guys? Why? Like, this should have been like, oh, okay, okay, done, out. He's out. Like today. What the fuck is happening? Do you know what I'm saying? This blows up pretty much their entire case. It is horrifying.
Because this whole case, this portion of the case is built on 2 FBI informants. You have Teenager, who was Siggy, and then you have Sabu, who was like one of the heads, you could say, of LulzSec. He was like one of the public faces of the organization as far as like hacker public faces can go. So that in and of itself, he was an FBI informant. So that's how they caught up Jeremy Hammond with the global intelligence files, LulzSec, Anti-Sect, and then tried to pull Julian into it. But as in many occasions, like when he was communicating with Guccifer too, obviously didn't take the bait. And they had to basically script this whole narrative and build 2 organizations behind the scenes to try to bring down whistleblowers and to try to bring down WikiLeaks back in 2010 and 11.
Yeah, this is nuts, you guys. It really is. I can't. When this came out, I'm not shocked, but nobody's covering this. This is like bombshell. The walls are closing in, like all of that stuff. That's what this is. Like, this is a massive story. Not that, the historic court case on press freedom isn't already a massive fucking story, but this, the entire prosecution was just it was just imploded. It just imploded. And because this is really what everything hinged on. And so the fact that we can't even get, I will say that there have been a lot of content creators that don't maybe normally cover a lot of Assange who have done videos on this, and I'm appreciative of that. I know Jackson Hinkle did a video. Who?
Luke Rudowski over at We Are Change has done basically a video a day about it. Or included it in each one of his daily videos.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jackson Hinkle did a video. Unapologetic did a video. Victoria and Jesse Crawl from Amplifier, they did a video. They did it as part of their Ask Jesse. There's been people I'm forgetting. I should never start lists because then I always feel bad because I'm forgetting people.
Isn't that terrible?
Every time I get to like name 3 and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to forget so many people. And then I panic and then I just shut down. Like, so yeah, but like there's been people, and I'm sorry if I forgot you. I mean, there's been lots of people. I mean, obviously MCSC people are covering this. Steve's covering it.
Covered it, which I actually think is pretty
Crystal and Sager covered it, which they don't use. Kyle, and he did a 9-minute video this time, you guys.
And he literally went live with it too.
Did he go live the last time he did a video? No, I don't think so.
When Julian was taken out of the.
No, but he did one like. It's like every 6 months we get like a less than 10-minute video maybe from Kyle.
But I appreciate it nonetheless.
No, I do too. Yeah. But Kyle stands, leave me the fuck alone. I'm going to pressure him. I pressure everybody. Calm down. Just calm down. Okay. But yeah, like there has been a few people who have, popped up and done videos. Tara Reid, I just interviewed with her today. She's going to try to get an op-ed with like a little, like we did like a 10-minute session, just like quickly going over what's happening. So shout out to her. She's like wanting to get more involved. I adore her, by the way. And she's suing Sally Albright. Hero.
That's funny.
Tara Reid is a hero. And Sally Albright's ducking getting served like 8 times, I guess. And it's now to the point where the court is saying that she's going to have to pay a fine or like pay the costs or whatever of attempting to serve her these papers. It's great. It's good stuff, you guys. I love it. So yeah.
Quick,
no, go ahead.
Give a shout out to the last leg of the Assange, the home run tour for Julian right now. If you look down in the doobly-doo, it has the link. It's HOMERUN4FOR or the number 4Julian.com or AssangeDefense.com/tour. They have 2 events planned in DC. I think there's one more. It's just the 2 events in DC.
No, it's just the 2 in DC.
Yeah.
Tomorrow and Thursday.
Justice on July 1st, if you can make it.
I'll be there. Come,
please. We're having I probably won't be there, but all of the other freedom fighters are having a birthday party for Julian outside of the Department of Justice. Because July 3rd is Julian's birthday, and then July 4th is the 4th of July, like freedom.
Or the farce of July. And listen, on July 3rd, there are a lot of events. Denver's having a great event. Where's that? Let me look it up so I don't give because I'm second guessing myself now. Shout out to Kendra.
Shout out to Candles for Assange too. So there's this fearless person. I'll see if I can actually pull her in for the last 30 minutes. Named Alex Hills over in New Zealand that puts together lists of global events and calls them the Candles for Assange events.
She's amazing.
And what we try to encourage people to do is go to Somerset Bean's website, print out flyers or make your own, and then crash your city's local 4th of July event. Like, don't plan a big extravagant, just literally take some flyers. I recommend bottles of water in a rolling cooler because it's going to be balls hot. And pass out flyers, pass out things that you can literally just hand to people with a bottle of water and say, hey, have you heard about what's happening to Julian? Because most people know who Julian is. And you'll
or they've at least heard his name.
Smearing him, which is actually the least likely thing, or you'll get met with someone like, yeah, this is absolutely crazy. And then if you choose to, you can start organizing there, collecting names and building your local Assange group.
Okay. So listen, the 3rd in Denver is at City Park, the Martin Luther King statue at 1 p.m. And then also in LA. Oh, I forgot to tell Jimmy about LA. Fuck me, Steve Poikonen. He's going to be so mad at me. I was so nervous though. Damn it.
You still have to send him that stuff on Cannabis.
No, yeah, I'll DM him, but I still feel like an ass because I told him I would, and now I'm a dick. I'm sorry, you guys. Seriously, I am sorry. Okay, so but in LA on the 3rd at Echo Park, I think it's from noon to 2. They're doing like a potluck. There will be some food and drinks provided, but if you want to bring something and then just hang out and like have some fun and eat good food and maybe possible put out some more of his white boy dance moves, like he does on Yo Vegans. And it'll be a good time. So definitely show up for that. And Convo's going to be there. Steve will be there. Who are you calling? You're muted. Oh, you're literally going to get around. Okay, cool. Yeah, Alex is great. Definitely follow Candles for Assange. Dude, I really feel like an asshat for not saying that to Jimmy Dore. I'm such a failure. Damn it, all to hell. Oh, really? Okay, so anyways, he's doing it again, you guys. He just left me on camera by myself again. Again. Oh, I have the worst co-host. Steve, I'm going to steal glory and you can have it true. This is ridiculous. Oh, okay. So I'm going to talk to you guys about, I'm going to talk to you about the DC event because I'm going to be there on Thursday. I'm not going to be there tomorrow, obviously. So I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to drive down. We're going to do bitch with Comrade Misty from DC. So I'm going to have a bunch of the people who are on the ground there come on the show and we can bitch about activism and, all the other bullshit. And Andrew, you left me alone and fuck you.
I'm sorry. Alex is jumping in.
Fuck you. No, I got to fuck you, Andrew. Yeah. So I'll get down there Wednesday. We'll do bitch from the condo that I'm sharing with some awesome activists from Boston. And then on Thursday at noon, we're going to be in front of the DOJ. There's going to be, I think Code Pink is coming, which is awesome. The Shiftons will be there. John and Gabriel will be there. We have some stuff for them. There's a ton of activists that are going to be on the ground down there. I've invited like Lee Camp and Max Blumenthal and all that stuff. I don't know. They're busy people, so we'll see. Hopefully they can make it out. But if you're in the DC area or anywhere near, or if you want to make like a road trip or whatever, we would love to have you. We need lots of people on the ground. And this is because it's their last day in the States, John and Gabriel. This is kind of like an early 50th birthday for Julian, and a send off to them to wrap up the American, I almost said Australian, the American leg of the home run tour. So it's going to be fun. So please come. And I don't know if we're having cake. I think we are. I don't know.
I think cake is the plan.
I think so too.
Like the cake is a lie, but the cake is the plan.
Well, you could be surprised. Like you could come for the cake and stay for the protest. Like maybe we'll have it, maybe we won't. I don't know.
Come for the protest and stay for the cake.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm something else tonight, man. I'm a whole hot mess.
That's awesome. But yeah, no, Alex said she's jumping in, and then I have a piece by Tara Kadat. I want to say it's like 6 slides or something. I'll double check it real fast.
So much reading, Andrew. We got to cut the reading. You guys tell them you hate the reading, right? Do you hate it? I hate it. I don't hate it, but oh, there she is. Hi, Alex.
Hey, how you going?
How are you?
Not too bad.
Good. I'm excited to see you. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up, huh?
Oh, awesome. I've just been watching you, actually.
Oh.
Super weird to be on now.
I was legit like, hey, I'm going to call Alex and see if she can jump in to talk about candles.
You probably heard us talking about you.
Yeah, a tough act to follow with Jimmy Dore.
Oh, yeah, right? Oh.
Well, you're the main liner. He was just getting
hi.
For you.
Timothy, wait.
Hi, Timothy.
Yeah, we're plotting more. We're plotting more songs. Political news songs we've been preparing.
I should have you. Maybe we've talked about this. I need to have you on Facts on the Ground because we have musicians on there all the time. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, we're writing actually in response to news gathered on your own show minutes ago. We're responding to the Chicago study on THC. I love it. Because we do have an amazing song called Sensimilia. So it could be added to that one as well, couldn't it? It could be an addendum. Anyway, so we're just having a bit of fun with what we like to do is watch the news and then respond to it with some music. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
We have a buddy, Jesse Jett, that does that too, so that's really cool.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what Candles for Assange is, how it started a couple years ago, and the events that you have up right now?
Yeah, okay. So I guess originally it started because Greg and I were putting candles out for Julian's birthday in 2018 even. And we actually did it with real candles then, but in Wellington it's so windy it was pretty challenging. But we had them nailed to the grass outside the Parliament in New Zealand, and it said "Free Assange," and it became quite a viral image. And then I put it up on the Unity4J Discord server, told people about candles, and the amazing Sabine in London was doing them outside the embassy, and she developed doing them with the LEDs, which is much more practical. Now we've got a good stock of them. But anyway, 2019, we were thinking we'll do a birthday protest for Julian, for free press, and we were aware that there were a few around the world already planned. So by no means did we instigate all of them or anything like that, but we put out a call and we said, join Wellington on a free press protest for Julian's birthday, candles for Assange. Put the hashtag out there, and it went completely nuts. It went viral and got retweeted, and Susie Dawson helped us, and WikiLeaks retweeted it, and we got it really far out. And so yeah, 62 cities joined us that year. So, and I think Germany, out of all of them, Germany I think has to have a notable mention, because they, Patrick and Issy, people there were really onto it, and
we had Issy
way more support
on Saturday. Yeah, she was great. Yeah, Germany, seriously, y'all, I can't say it. We can't say it enough. Germany kicks ass.
And big shout out to Taylor
for anything
Hudak
in Europe,
Activism Munich for being the voice of Free Assange in Germany. Like,
absolutely.
I'm so proud of that girl.
Yeah, they've been really leading it. And if you ever want to check out the European events that are going on, freeassange.eu are really good for that list there. They keep a really good list of all the German cities, and also Austria and a few others that happen, Brussels, around them. So yeah, that's really worth going and checking out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess that's how candles came about, and we sort of thought about it as, and then of course the weekly protest started up, and that was really Patrick's doing. He suggested it. Thinking of the candle now as a sort of free press flame, and keeping the candle burning, we're keeping the delicate flame of press freedom burning. And so I think just before lockdown there was about 55 cities we were listing who were holding weekly protests. I mean, not all of them are candles for Assange by any means. New York had been doing it long before Patrick, so to be fair, and New York was probably leading the show in the weekly thing. And we just started listing, and I guess it became my kind of role to glue together all the people supporting all around the world. Some of these people are just one person in Korea or one person on the street in Rio, and it's very hard for them, and they're very isolated. And so I kind of became, I guess, the listing service for the grassroots people. Yeah.
And you're amazing at it. The way that you're able to find all of them, keep them organized, make sure they're all getting tweeted out and retweeted and all of that. Like you do a great. I brag on you all the time about how amazing you are at doing it. So yeah, I mean, huge shout out to you for that. What I try to do is look out for anyone tweeting about stuff, or we've got a Facebook group about 3,000 people as well. So I keep an eye out on anyone saying, "Oh, is anyone doing it in this city?" And then I try and encourage them just to go ahead and start promoting it and see who comes. And sometimes I help with graphics. I've offered, because I've got access to Unity4J channels still, I can live stream from there. I've offered, if anyone ever wants an online one and they can't go out on the streets, then I'm happy to try and help with that as well, as much as I can. Yeah, so those kind of, I guess, graphics, very basic graphics, but I use things like Somerset Bean produced a yellow and black graphic for the birthday, and so we've been using that. Bean's amazing also, too. Shout out to Bean.
Yeah, shout out to Bean. He actually recently lost his website, and I was trying to download some of the. Yeah, he says the guy's gone missing. AWOL. Yeah.
It's still. I still see it.
You can still see it.
It's different, but it still looks relatively the same.
Oh yeah, Bean is seriously. Bean is amazing. Like I worked with Bean on the Billboards, and it was like super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was super, and he's I've been using
his graphics and just literally chucking on my phone, doing it on my phone, just chucking in the text that people tell me and firing it back to them real quick as possible to just try and keep it going. And I mean, we've got 44 cities, 15 countries, so it's going pretty well in terms of the list so far of events. There's a few other things on other days. Obviously, we know about you guys on the 1st. But there's also some German cities doing that on other days around that, because they've got their weekly protest anyway, and it was only a day later or a day before, whatever. They've just gone ahead on their weekly protest anyway. But yeah, so 44 so far. I haven't heard back from India, and I don't even know what city it was, but I'm really hoping we have one in India. That would be
amazing. So yeah, 44 cities is great. I mean, if y'all want to start an event, and seriously, like Alex said, it can literally just be you standing on a sidewalk with a sign. Like that's all it takes. That's how all of us start. Like, you know, Andrew and I both started with like flyers, like just going around and hanging out flyers. Those are, that's everybody gets into it their own way. And the people in Tulsa, our friends in Tulsa, that's like it started with like a couple people with some signs, and now there's like 5 or 6 of them, or I don't know how many. I mean, that's how everybody starts. So find a buddy, grab some signs, poster board, Sharpie, you're done, go out there and report to Alex, and she'll boost your event for you. And then you can maybe find some more people and then start organizing. That's all it takes.
Yep. And often, because we've done 62 events in the past, or we've listed them anyway, we've got some connections somewhere nearby you. So, you know, if you're ever looking for people, you can actually go to candlesforassange.com and have a look at old event lists and see if there's anyone there near you. Because
I also have a thread.
Times we had a lot. Yeah.
I have a thread on Twitter where I was trying to like play matchmaker, and that was really effective. Like I managed to get a couple people into Boston. I found somebody for Denver. That was really effective. So if you want to like find some people in your area, hit me up on Twitter and I'll add you to that thread, or I'll try to find somebody in that thread. I'll retweet it again so everybody can find it. I should probably like re-up that every once in a while. But yeah,
I mean, one of the most valuable things we could ask is if people could peel through that list and see, have I got a friend in New Zealand who might want to go to, I mean, I am notoriously bad at organizing people for my own events, and I'm pretty good at doing listings for the world, but I'm terrible at getting them here. And I really rely on other people to help me, and there's not that many. So it's a bit of a challenge. Yeah. So if people could go through the list and actually actively think, who do I know in Holland? Who do I know in England? Like, can I put some friends in touch with these people? Can I actually send this and link it and send them a personal message? You know, try and make it as individual, or respond to one of their tweets if they don't have open DMs. You know, respond to one of their recent tweets with, "Oh, have you seen this in your local area?" That would be so helpful for the people who are trying to organize all around the world, just to get their word out.
Yeah.
So this is Assange week right now, right? Stella asked that everyone with the ability to take action, please do so. Whether it's going out and just handing out a flyer at a 4th of July event, whether it's going out and, like, I love putting posters up. Like, that's just the thing that, like, brings me a weird sense of joy, right? So I showed it Saturday, but I want to pull it up and throw it in the chat again, or throw it on the stream again, because I'm just super pumped about this. I'm going to screen share real quick so Alex can see. But I snuck in, Donald Trump had his first rally around the corner from my house, essentially. And so I know the area, I know the people that own the actual venue, like, so I go out with no one's permission but my own, and decide I'm going to go through and put posters up. I walk into the back of the fairgrounds that they were having it at and just literally start postering pretty much the entire thing all the way around. This was the Lorain County Fairgrounds. I went through the grandstands, put signs up all over those, put stickers in every single bathroom. It was horrifying, but it was a lot of fun. So do what you can, please. Like, everyone, please do what you can with the time and money that you have. If it's standing on a corner passing out posters, passing out signs, passing out flyers, what have you, just please do something.
Yes. And Alex, just so you know, somebody in the chat said that they were trying to log on to Candles for Assange, the website, and it was down. So I checked it real quick, and it was down for me too. Yeah, just to give you a heads up.
Twitter in there for everyone. It's Candles for Assange on Twitter.
No, I know. You can go the Twitter page. You can still go to find all the events. But somebody mentioned it in the chat, and I'm really terrible to chat. I'm sorry.
I didn't see that.
No.
Okay, I have actually only just paid my web membership, so maybe it's just a bit out of date. But I'll I'll double check that.
Okay.
I mean, if you look back through my old tweets, you'll find those ones where there are 62 cities listed, for previous birthdays or previous big events around trials and stuff like that, for the beginning of the trial and the middle of the September trial. There's been lists all the way along, and we've had very, very interesting cities all around the world. So there may be a Twitter user there. If you look up a certain city and put my name in it, then you might find someone who's related to that city who's responding, or at least listing the events or whatever. Also want a big shout out to Ali, of course, in London, doing all those wonderful things. They've got a boat trip with Stella as well for Assange Week. Obviously they've got the picnic at Parliament that DEA campaign are running. Human. Emmy's been organising something earlier at Belmarsh, and I think she's still going to go there, but she's encouraging everyone to go to the DEA picnic instead, and maybe check in with them later. Human 2020 on Twitter, he is offering to yell out with his megaphone outside Belmarsh and pass on any short message that people would like to the prison. So big call out for him. He's doing wonderful. I've submitted my message telling him about the latest on the protests. And so, big shout out for him and for Emmy and for Ali and for DEA, who are all working really hard to get those campaigns off the ground.
The London crew is amazing. They are awesome. They're fantastic. They're tireless. They're relentless. I love them all so much. And then today I got to see a picture of Eric with Jeremy Corbyn, and it just made my heart happy.
I saw that.
I love it so much. Yeah, I love it so much. So, 3 MPs, was it Diane Abbott, Richard why can't I say his name? Bergeron, right? And Jeremy Corbyn essentially went and protested their own government, of which they are a part of, to get a video conference with Julian Assange. I think they first requested it in December, and they've essentially been ignored. And so they went and protested their own government that they are serving in.
It is telling that they can't. I mean, I would like to have proof of life and just know that Julian's alive. That's one of my concerns, and it is a bit of concern. With his lawyers
in 6 months. Since January, the end of the January hearings, they haven't allowed him a privileged legal meeting.
Right. And something very suspicious about not allowing MPs access. Like, is he unwell? Is he damaged to the point where
have they drugged him? Like, what is happening?
Have gone through my mind about why it is. And Stella might be gagged in terms of what she can say legally. Who knows? And I really would like to have some proof of life. And the fact that even under an online forum, they cannot have a meeting just makes me worried, because those are people who are independently corroborating this story that Julian is okay and not mentally completely messed up. I just want to know that he's all right. I'm sure we all feel like that. But
I mean, even Stella recently gave a speech or something, and she said, why are they hiding him from the world? Why aren't they letting him speak? Why aren't they? And it's really creepy that, I mean, yes, I understand that he's in a supermax prison, but we can hear from, like, I can find out, like, what Chris Watts had for breakfast. He's like a guy that killed his entire family, but we can't hear from Julian Assange. Like, it is really weird. Like, there's no access to him. He can't meet with his lawyers. He only just met with Stella for the first time since October. It was like 9 months or 8 months or something crazy. And you're right. Like, I want, and it's not just that, like, I want Jeremy Corbyn to be able to have, like, I want a video public. Like, I want him to be able to say something to the world.
Yes.
He should have that right.
Through timing is him now, just through current events or something that he can assure us that is his current. I mean, we only have to look at his last known video interview to see why they might be shutting him up, but also what's rolling out around the world right now. And if he had a voice, I don't think that they would have got away with half the crap they've got away with.
Yeah,
really, that is my feeling, that this is where we're at because of people like Julian being silenced.
It's what would we have known if WikiLeaks was fully operating at this time?
Right.
Like not that Christian Ramsden isn't a wonderful individual. Like, he revealed the OPCW bullshit fake report about the staged chemical attacks in Duma, but if Julian were there, what information would people have been more willing to
Well,
turn
and it's
over?
not even just what if Julian were there. It's what if WikiLeaks didn't have to spend so much time, money, and resources trying to save his life? What if they were able to be more fully functioning and really be into what they're doing? They can't do that right now. And that's why I think we need like 1,000 WikiLeaks across the globe doing what they're doing and exposing all of the powerful people. People like to complain, oh, well, he only released something about this, which none of that stuff is true. Every time you say it, they have a handy dandy search feature on wikileaks.org. You can go and you can look like Putin or, you know, Democrats or Republicans, whatever your fancy is, that he's pretty much reported on everybody.
Every time something happens, WikiLeaks will put out the search for that person. Like when Neera Tanden was being like talked about, they were like, "Hey, here's all Neera Tanden's shit. Like smear the fuck out of her with it."
Yeah, right? Tom Perez, I went, like, they have like a whole, it's like a whole list of all of the emails that he is mentioned in on WikiLeaks, and he's running for governor of Maryland. And so I'm like, here you go. Here's all the WikiLeaks with Tom Perez in it. It'll be good. He's the guy that said he was going to stick a fork in Bernie Sanders. That's the guy running. Yeah. So, well, I mean,
WikiLeaks did do a wonderful troll posting, didn't they, on Tucker Carlson about being a journalist being spied upon. Yeah, you know, isn't new news.
No, it's not new news. I get why Tucker is doing doing this. I get it. And he has been like supportive of Julian Assange, and despite being a complete dickhead,
he's one of the better of most mainstream media. I mean, that's the fair thing you can say is out of the crap there is in mainstream media, he's one of the better ones, isn't he?
He's the only one that's having leftists on. I mean, he's having Anya Parampil on, and Aaron Mattei, and Glenn Greenwald, and Jimmy Dore, and all of these people. MSNBC isn't talking to that. Yeah, Andrew Smith.
Sorry,
my dude, Andrew Smith. Yes,
John and Gabriel Shipton.
John and Gabriel Shipton. I mean, yeah. I mean, Tucker sucks. Listen, yeah, he's a divisive piece of shit. He's racist, and you know, I don't agree with him on everything, but I don't care. He's good on Julian Assange. He has leftist. He had Anya Parampil to like talk about anti-imperialism stuff. I'm all for that. I am all for that. I mean, he has 5 to 6 million viewers every single night. If you want something done, you would be completely stupid to not exploit him for his platform and talk to those people. It's just silly when people get mad about that. But you know,
and I must admit, I haven't seen all this stuff about his white supremacist or anti-trans views. I've not seen it. I'm yet to see him. Yeah,
it's overblown. To see him. He plays a role, I think. I honestly don't think that he believes a lot of. It's none of them. Like Rachel Maddow doesn't believe in Russiagate. You know, she's a Rhodes Scholar. She's not an idiot. She knows what she's doing. They're not idiots. Like they're playing roles. You know, Megyn Kelly really kind of admits to that. Like when she was on Fox News, she kind of played a role. She's more, I think honestly, Megyn Kelly is a little bit more of like a centrist Democrat. But she was on Fox News, and you have to play a role if you want to get your paycheck. And I think that's a lot of what that is. They're not journalists. They're performers. They're news performers. And they have to, it's a personality thing, and it's a, you know, so it is what it is, but it's you know, he does put some divisive stuff out there, which is whatever. It is what it is, but he's no better or worse than Rachel Maddow or Chris Cuomo or whatever. I mean, people overblow it so much, it's ridiculous. So yeah, but he's, you know, he's one of few people. Is he the only mainstream media journalist that's really covered Assange? And I mean, I know that they'll mention
him. Do you count Democracy Now! As mainstream now? I would.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And they actually did have Jen Robinson on to talk about the Siggy stuff, which was good to see. I was happy to see
had
that.
Jen Robinson on national radio about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, actually in New Zealand, which was delightful. But the person, someone Hill, who was interviewing her, is a well-known establishment journalist nightmare, and she asked some pretty stupid questions along the way, but it was good to have at least her voice.
Well, Jen that just happened yesterday. John and Gabriel went on Mehdi Hassan, and he asked the dumbest fucking questions. He brought up 2016 and Trump and the hacking and all this stuff. He didn't say anything about Siggy really, and it was like typical Mehdi Hassan, and that's just what you get. But then you look and see RT did a segment, was great. I mean, they went through the Siggy stuff. They examined why it's like a really explosive thing. And it's so telling. And people want to, you know, smear RT. And listen, RT has its problems. It's also propaganda. All like big media, it's all crap. It's all crap, you guys. But you have to kind of learn to filter through and see what's good and what's legit. And people are just not, there's no nuance anymore. There's just not. It's really sad. Do you want to tell us about some of the events that are happening? Or, I mean, I don't want to make you go through all of them, but
no, well, why don't I just list the cities that we've got, because I think I can add.
This is all on July 3rd, right? So if we can just say July 3rd, and then you can go find your event.
Yeah, I think there'll be some here that are on slightly different days if we're counting all the German cities, but I can go down to the German cities separately. I think that's probably best. So we've got London. We've got several events actually, and we've got them on the day as well as on the 1st. We've got Edinburgh on the 3rd. We've got Hobart, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, Byron Bay, Canberra. I can add to that, and was there any others in Australia? I feel like Brisbane has got one, but might be an issue with lockdown. Sydney, the 3 events that they're having, one was run by Ian Rose in Bondi Beach. That has now gone online, and the weekly protest that Gong Steve usually uploads to YouTube if you follow his channel. I'm not sure if that's going ahead on the Friday. It was planned to be adjourned to the Saturday. I just don't know what's going on there, but there'll probably be an online representation from Sydney. So now in America, we have New York, San Francisco, Denver, Tulsa, Seattle, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, DC on the 1st. So that's really exciting. I think I've picked up everything there so far. In Mexico, we've got Nat. I think she'll be doing a solo protest, but also I'm trying to encourage her to maybe do something online. So we'll see what happens there. There's certainly a Rio de Janeiro online, and that's Fabiano Lima, who's the Cyber Fathers account on Facebook. He's very active on Facebook, and he's got his own YouTube accounts. And we have that unknown city in India, which I'm desperate for them to return information on. I don't have full information yet. We've got Amsterdam. Still waiting for details, but I have been assured by a Free Nederland account on Twitter that something is happening. We have Vienna now has settled their plans. We've got Rome. We have Brussels. In Auckland, I think that they are doing Aotearoa Square, and in Wellington we're doing the Parliament, and we're going to walk to the waterfront, although it is pretty chilly at the moment with massive storms, so we'll see how the weather is. We might just stay at the Parliament if it's not that good. We've also got a small event planned in Natal. I've done Brazil online protest before and had people from Natal and Rio both talking, and it will be really great to either have that online or see their action. It might just become in the form of photographs. Now, for the German events, there are so many. It's absolutely crazy. I'm actually having a technical problem with my tweets. Maybe you know how to fix this. Once I get down to sort of 30 or so posts on my thread, it starts to hide replies. Like, it doesn't come across as a thread anymore. And I don't know if it's something in the way that I'm doing the reply or whatever, but it suddenly stops being a thread about 30
I wonder
down.
if there's like a limit or something. I've never encountered that. So yeah.
It could be.
Well, anyway, I'm having that problem, so I just encourage people to click down beyond the second London event, because there's a whole lot there that just coming through, including Montreal in Canada and Toronto, which have both returned details in the last couple of days. And so what else have we got? Las Vegas has got details. Perth has got details. London, I've put down the boat ride, but that's on the 1st.
Germany, you didn't do Germany.
The German ones. Oh, cracky. There's also all the weekly ones. So Hamburg, we have Flaggenplatz. They're on the day 2:00. And Dusseldorf, we've got Bertha von Suttnerplatz at 2:00. The other German cities, I think I've done them all in one. Yeah, we've got, so you've got Hamburg, Frankfurt, Berlin, Dusseldorf, Leipzig, Köln, Schwerin, München, Flensburg, Stuttgart, and Konstanz, all having events with Köln, Schwerin, and Stuttgart having them on different days. So there you go. I think I've done them all now.
That is a lot. That's a lot.
But like I said, if you want the details for the European events, go to freeassange.eu. If you want events that might be listed in the Assange Freedom Network in Australia, that's a decentralized website with an event listing service on it. Anyone can just plonk in the details there. I really recommend putting them in one of those options, or tagging me and I'll add them to, the list, of course.
Yeah, and if you need graphics too,
if you need graphics, as long as you're not
or
too
you can
puffy.
do your own.
Yeah, just grab my graphics and change them. I know Somerset Bean doesn't mind. The one that I stole of a London bus is from I think from Mark Lubbers, so I'm pretty sure they don't mind. The Anons don't mind me using it. So
No.
yeah, by all means, use the graphics that are already up there and just adapt them for your own.
That's a lot. That's a lot of. I mean, I wish it was more, but that's great. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you say it's 44?
If we could get to 62 would be the record from 2019.
And you said it's 44 right now, right?
44. I'm still waiting on a few details in India.
We have 339 people still hanging out with us. So that number should be close to, what would that be, 380 by the end of the stream, hopefully, if everyone goes out to their local 4th of July events.
Nice.
Yeah, because that counts.
Right?
It totally counts.
Yeah, well, I had
literally the very
I had
first
a quick look
event
when Jimmy was on.
What?
You had a what?
I'm sorry? When Jimmy was on, and how many people you had watching, and you had 450 watching on MCSC, and you had 170, I think, watching on
we were
Action
at about
for Assange.
1,000 across the whole broadcasting.
Thank you, Jimmy Dore.
Yeah, nice.
That helps get a lot more attention on Julian.
And I'm honored to be the guest after Jimmy Dore. So funny.
Well, you do super important work. You literally help organize the whole world. Like, that's
Did you see us all giddy?
Incredible.
You should have saw Andrew was such a turd beforehand. Like Jimmy had to get he was trying to figure out his lighting or whatever. So he got up and walked away, and Andrew's like, Misty, Jimmy Dore is here. And I'm already nervous, and I'm like, you're making me more nervous.
I didn't want him to hear me. That would have been awkward.
I know, but it was just
it took a while. It took a while for me to even register that Jimmy was there. I just clicked your link on your tweet, Misty. I just wasn't even.
Well, I'm terrible at tweeting. I should have tweeted.
Really watching the TV, and then I was like, oh, "They've got Jimmy Dore on." I just told Timothy, and he was like, "Ah."
He's awesome though. Like all I did was I just DM'd him and I'm like, "Hey." Because I want, like, if you guys know me, you know that I get really spazzy about this stuff, and I'm always convinced that, like, why would anybody want to talk to me? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I have been like, since I started a show, I've wanted to have Jimmy Dore on my show, and it's taken me this long. So I was like, finally,
wanted you to ask him about the Great Reset. I was like, please.
Oh, did you? I'm really, Alex. I'm really bad at the chat. I am. He wants to, or he doesn't want to. I also asked him if he would come on Facts on the Ground. So hopefully we can schedule that, and I'll ask him about it then.
Nice.
Yeah. So he's really
to know
cool.
His opinion. I do respect his opinion so much, and I just would like to know, because obviously there's a lot of people that I respect highly who aren't covering this, and it's annoying. But I mean, I guess I get it.
In one of his most recent streams, he put a couple of videos out using the term "Great Reset."
Yes.
So he hasn't done a documentary series on it, but he'll mention it in passing.
I think he's aware
Russell
of
Brand
it.
has been going hard out on it, and he's got millions of followers. Russell Brand has been covering gates in his farmland. He's been covering privacy. He's been covering spying. Oh my God, he has been doing a corker job on COVID, everything. And he comes from the left, and he comes from quite a sort of position where you'd normally expect brainwashing.
That's who we should try to. So just so everybody knows, we stream Tuesdays at 9 o'clock at night on Eastern Time, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Consistently, that's just what we do. If it gets changed, Misty will put a tweet out, but it's generally twice a week. Next Tuesday, we have Kara Castronova coming on, who's, I didn't know this, I probably should have, former Golden Glove boxer, or a Golden Glove boxer or title holder person. I'm really bad at this.
It's so funny. He sent me a message, and he's like, hey, can you find somebody to talk about the blah, 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 and just somebody that you think would be okay with Kara Castronova. And I'm like, the boxer? And he's like, oh, I didn't know she was a boxer. Okay, ridiculous, sir.
She's fighting against domestic torture right now, so we're gonna have her on next week to talk about that, because she's organizing in New York City, like the heart of evil, just outside of Washington D.C. So
yeah.
So I'm pumped about that, but I think I'll reach out to Russell Brand again. I've been trying to get a hold of him for 2 weeks to schedule him, but I think that might be a cool...
Yeah, well, we could hit a Twitter campaign for it. I often get him to do Assange stuff, and his Twitter handle's Rusty Rockets. But I would recommend jumping on him and saying, "Yeah, come and be a guest."
I want to get the Eve Six guys on too, or just the one that runs their singer. Who all of them. I don't care, but I mean, they're funny on Twitter, and they'll put out Assange stuff for me. I've asked them before, and they'll put out a free Assange. They've shared events for me before. They're awesome. So I like to try to encourage those people, as much as possible. Like even people that cover something that don't always cover it, but they did. I'll try to give credit where credit's due for that, like specific, like Crystal and Sager covered it, and I don't normally. They spent a whole segment a couple years ago smearing Julian Assange, so I still don't trust them.
6 months before, and that was one of the things. Ironically, if you know the history of Action for Assange, us asking Crystal and Seeger to apologize for reading the UC Global smears live on camera was one of the things that got us so much heat originally. Like we were 3 months in, hey, you should apologize for this, and then the whole internet blew up on us. You can't ask someone to apologize for words. It was a fun time.
Yes, I can, because those words were very damaging. Those words are damaging, and a man's getting tortured.
So I appreciate
and I mean,
putting out
it's the
that
wolf
piece,
in
even if
sheep's
it's not
clothing
a formal apology
problem.
But
it is
the wolf in sheep's clothing problem, because these people, like the Guardian, they were traditionally anti-war. They were traditionally, always reaching out to these people as being the hope, and they always let you down, don't they? Was there some kind of controversy regarding Kyle?
Today there was a little bit of okay, so he has not really covered the OPCW thing at all, not at all. And then he also didn't really say anything when TYT went after Aaron Matei and Russiagated him and smeared him and said he was being paid by dictators and all this stuff. And so Jimmy's he's on a rampage. He's gonna call you out. It's a problem in independent media. There's a lot of people who are pretending to be something they're not. And it's I mean, I can't think of a better word than just, it's dangerous. The way that they're misinforming people.
He didn't know about Stella and Julian having 2 children either.
He doesn't cover Julian Assange. Yeah. Stands don't fucking come for me. I'm going to say it again, because his stands are awful. He doesn't. He covers it once every 6 months, maybe. And it's less than 10 minutes. It's very surface level. He doesn't dive into anything. He doesn't discuss the ramifications, the implications, how ridiculous this is, how dangerous it is. He doesn't talk about none of it. He just very on the surface covers it, and that's not good enough, fam. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're in the independent media sphere and you're not covering Julian Assange in a very real way, I am suspect. You're wrong. Suspect. Yeah. There's something wrong. There's no reason why this directly affects your ability to do what you're doing right now.
Well, that's
in the future. And so it's just really weird to me that in independent media, even, and I get it, we've had people say that they can't cover it because it'll affect their clicks or their subscriptions or their amount of Patreons, or it'll hurt their channel. They might get demonetized or whatever. And you're cowards. This isn't a game. We need everybody to take the risk right now. That's where we're at. We are at a turning point, and time's up. We need you to stop worrying about that stuff and trust your audience that they will support you. I mean, Democracy Now! Just had Jen Robinson on, and I forget who pointed it out. Was it you? Yes, it was you. Yes. Yeah. I was just gonna say, I'm so mad at myself for not being able to remember who it was, and it was you. It has 3 times as many views as a normal segment that they post.
70,000 views that video had of their tweet, 1,100 likes, and then I was flicking back through the others, and there was typically 20, 16, 40. Yeah. I mean, so it was hundreds of times out difference. Yeah.
And it's amazing. And the clips that they do of the headlines, those always get bigger numbers. But that was by far their most watched clip or segment or whatever that they have.
The audience is starved, right?
Yes.
The people that watched them were politically aware. They Russiagated them for five years now. And then cover something real that their audience cares about, and the audience responds with viewership. It's crazy. It's crazy how that works.
That's what I'm saying. Trust your audience. If you're
they've got to be able to see it.
Yes.
They've got to be able to see it. It's like Jacinda, you know, she removed one of the political parties someone removed and she won the election from Facebook because they had more views and more interaction than the Labour Party New Zealand has been going for decades. And they were just a tiny brand new party run by Billy TK. Now, 3 channels went down yesterday in New Zealand. Now, they would be the channels that I would have said were the biggest impact that would be likely to talk about Julian at all, or about these kind of problems that we're having right now. Anyway, maybe not so much about Julian. It's been a bit of a struggle, to be honest, anyone in New Zealand pointing that stuff out. But 3 have gone down, mostly under the guise of being white supremacists because they speak out on immigration issues, or they speak out about, you know, people like Tucker Carlson. I would imagine they'd be your equivalent, only tiny. And they've taken them out. They've taken all those channels. They're the most major alternate media channels in New Zealand. They've all gone yesterday. So I don't know what the hell's going on.
Is there like a it was the main person who in New Zealand?
Is there a what?
Do you know what Rockfin is?
No,
it's an alternative to YouTube. It's not. I wouldn't even call it an alternative.
No. I'm on Rockfin, and I've been encouraging Ed from New Zealand to join that as well because his channels have been demonetized. Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting worse. It's going to continue to get worse. I mean, they've screwed over Fiorella. Jimmy Dore's been at like 800 and some odd thousand subscribers for like 2 years. Not even kidding. Artificial. He's been there. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And TYT has 5 million subscribers. Please. It's ridiculous. It's so, it really is just like rigged. I mean, YouTube is just completely ridiculous. That's like Rockfin, for Facts on the Ground. We've only been on there since like maybe March or something. And we've already lapped our YouTube subscribers by double.
To Slow News Day and C. Boykin, Glory Jones and Ollie over there. They just surpassed their numbers.
So did Franco.
Too. Yeah.
So did Franco. So did Sabby Sabs. She just did it too. And her channel is like brand new.
You can watch, right? If you go and look at subscriptions, you can see how many people subscribe and then how many unsubscribe. So it just straight shows you like, oh, you gained 1,000. Okay, you lost 980 of them, and then keeps your numbers stagnant over time. So these channels that are now exceeding their numbers, like they're not getting new viewership on Rockfin. Like Rockfin's not a mega echelon, I guess, of like viewers. They're getting their YouTube viewers to come over there because they say about 10% of viewers are willing to change to a different platform. So Steve's getting, by his own numbers, 60,000 viewers if you take the actual math of Rockfin versus what YouTube shows.
How about supporting the creator though? Is it getting, because obviously YouTube would have traditionally given you the ads and all that sort of stuff if you have 1,000 people, but what about Rockfin? Are you getting well supported?
Rockfin is there's no ads, I don't think, but you can get tips. And there's also the you can subscribe to somebody for $9.99 a month, and then you get access to everybody's premium content. So you just have to support the one channel.
They call it they call it a Ray token. It's a fraction of an Ethereum that you get. It's essentially like the quarter of cryptocurrencies. And then you get one of them every month if someone continues to subscribe to you, and then you get them based on your tips. So they have super chats that are open all of the time. I left
my Patreons and I stopped doing any of that PayPal stuff after last American Dad Man and Whitney.
It's basically like Patreon,
but I haven't been able to get my credit card details into Rockfin at all. Like, I don't know whether it's an American thing or whatever, but I've tried to subscribe multiple times to Rockfin and I have not succeeded. I wondered whether it was my name of the credit card's different to my account name because I've got candles or whatever. It might be international, but maybe we need our own New Zealand version.
Or VPN.
I'll get my son to work on the coding.
But it's a super cool platform. You can see in real time how many people are watching a video after the fact. And then the super chat function, they call it tips, is open 24, is always open for that show, and the creator gets those as text messages in real time. So if you
they're also really good about,
they still see that interaction.
Yeah, they're also really good about connecting you with your audience, like making sure that you know who tipped you and that you know who subscribed to you so that you can reach out to them and you can thank them, which I really like because, I mean, that's the whole fucking point, right? Is to interact with your audience and have a conversation. So, I mean, that's really cool. I think that that's a nice feature that they do to like make sure that everybody is, connecting across the line. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the tips are cool. I like that you don't, because facts on the ground, we don't live stream a lot. Like we only live stream when it's like a musician usually. And so, but people like, I just got and it's just like a $2 tip. Every once in a while I'll get a text message and you got a $2 tip or you got a $5 tip or you got a whatever. And I mean, Jesse and I are just letting it sit there. We're not, I mean, we don't take it out or anything and we'll just let it sit there. And then like if one day, cause Jesse needs some lights and some stuff. So we may eventually take that stuff out and put it towards the show or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Rockfin's way better than YouTube, just, based on censorship alone. I mean, just, YouTube is terrible. So bad. I mean, the algorithm alone is horrendous. I mean, if you have Assange or Palestine or Syria or whatever in the title of your video, you're screwed. They're not going to push your video. It's really terrible. So I'm glad Rockfin's happening. We need more of those, like Odyssey. We need like a lot of alternatives, BitChute, all of that stuff, because we're going to have to decentralize because YouTube is out of control.
Well, maybe you could ask them about other countries, whether there's an issue, because I would love, I'll
see if I can find out.
Esoteric Ed, who does Out of Light channel and some other channels here, and he's been doing a Clown World series during COVID, which is quite funny. But he's probably one of the best and most supportive of WikiLeaks in New Zealand alt media, and I've told him, please go to Rockfin, because I'm not intending to do any Patreon anymore, and I was supporting him. And he's always been amazing at promoting our shows, but I haven't seen him on there and I've had my trouble getting payments through. So it might be worth asking a question because I certainly have had trouble. It might be to do with that stupid tax law to do with earnings. And, you know, I think that whenever we sign up on YouTube, you have to sign a special thing that you're not American or something. It might be something to do with that. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. I can find out though. I'll try to find out. I'm sure I know somebody that knows. Yeah. Nico may even know. He's pretty good with Rockfin. He's kind of the Rockfin king.
Okay.
They love him over there. But apparently they just had a bunch of comedians just join. I haven't had a chance to check it all out, but a bunch of comedians just joined. Yeah. So
that's what we need is laughter in these times, for sure.
Yeah. 100%. But yeah, I think that I like that they have like a great diversification of like and I think they were very smart about not just letting everybody join, like content creators. Like they were very like they did it slow, because they would have overwhelmed themselves if they had tried to. So yeah, I like Rockfin. I think it's probably one of the better platforms. I mean, YouTube is still, it sucks because YouTube is still kind of necessary because everybody watches it. And like Andrew said, it's hard to get people to switch to a different platform. So, I mean, YouTube's necessary. And honestly, I'm going to exploit them for as long as they will let me be on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure eventually all of us are going to get kicked off. So
I can't seem to go live from my own account. I don't know what's going on. Maybe you have to have 1,000 people before you can go live. I don't know.
I didn't know there was restrictions about that.
Well, I've never been able to go live on YouTube. No.
Yeah, you have to have
I can on Unity 4J.
Yeah,
that's why. Okay.
You have to have 1,000 subscribers and a certain amount of watch time on top.
Oh, okay. I've got quite a lot of watch time, but I need more subscribers because I don't actively promote.
Everybody go and subscribe to Alex Hills on YouTube.
Hills.
Go subscribe. Yeah. Good job, Andrew. Yeah, sweet. For sure. Okay. Nice. Do we need to wrap up, Andrew?
Yeah, well, Timothy and I are going to record some music, so
well, have fun. Thank you for stopping in to give us an update on
based
all of
on
the
your
birthday
news,
stuff.
Lovely people.
I love that. I can't wait to hear it. I'm excited. Well, thanks for coming on and talking to us about all the events that are coming up. It's cool that we have them in 44 cities.
I'm so honored to be your second guest after Jimmy. I just love that.
You're so cute. Oh, it's funny. Okay. Okay, so I'm Misty. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I have another show called Facts on the Ground with Jesse Zerwell. Comrade Bitch with Misty. Bitch with Comrade Misty. Oh, fuck. Bitch with Comrade Misty is every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. This week I'm in DC, so it's just going to be me and a bunch of activists complaining about stuff. The show's a little crazy. Like last week I had Nico on and we went from bitching about the squad to talking about basketball. So it's a wild and crazy show. So Wednesdays at 7. Thursday I'll be in DC. If you're in the DC area, please show up noon to 2 at the DOJ. Daniel is still doing his billboard thing. He got his first billboard up in North Carolina. Woo woo, go Daniel. Andrew. Yeah, it's in the billboard campaign. Go donate so he can get more billboards up. He's doing an amazing job. I don't remember what else. Andrew, go ahead. Damn it.
I was muted. The link to the billboard campaign's in the description. That probably looked really weird without sound. We have the Denver event coming up on the 3rd. So big shout out to Kendra. They had an awesome event for the candles
and LA
or for the home run tour. Your bat that you got, do you have that on hand? Can you show that?
Oh, dude, I'm not telling anybody. I didn't want him to see until Thursday.
Okay.
Let's hope they're probably not watching. Like, what the fuck would they be doing watching our show? Should I show it? Because they're probably not watching. It's right there.
You had Jimmy on. Of course they're watching.
It's up to you. I didn't say. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'll tell you Thursday, everybody.
But yeah, just do what you can with the time and money that you have left, everybody. That's the big thing. Get out there and take some action for Julian this week. Crash your local 4th of July event if you're here in the United States. That's the day after Julian was born, freedom was born. So I think it's works pretty well together.
Oh boy. Ridiculous, Andrew.
I try. How are you doing, buddy? Good to see you again.
Are we out, Andrew?
How are you?
No, we're not out yet. I can take us out.
Oh. I'm so perfect.